Your hands are washed. They're happy
And
your hands are washed.
my shirt is like this.
Yep.
Bonjour.
And it has 2 hearts. If you look like this, and 1 heart if you look like that.
Bonjour.
Happy birthday, Trace!
Happy.
Or happy early birthday, Trace.
Is
Bye!
Trace healthy?
No.
Bye.
Say happy birthday.
Because she wanted to.
Because his birthday is in February.
Well, Rick has a birthday too.
When is its birthday?
Right after Trace's. The day after.
So in the morning.
Happy birthday, Rick.
You think it's the morning? Alright, I'll tell him bye. So see you next week.
See you next week. And this Wednesday, girl.
Wednesday. Okay.
And
Bye.
how Wednesday and season Wednesday, girl.
She's a Wednesday girl. Okay,
Huh?
go play.
Wednesday.
All right,
Oh, I think you know what he means.
go play. All right.
Adam.
Today we're going to talk about Nathanael. And Nathanael is never assume anything. And our context is from John chapter 1, 43 through 51, and John 21, verse 2. And a little bit about Nathanael. We only find Nathanael in the Gospel of John. He's known for speaking without thinking first. And I think a lot of us could say that we speak before we think. Then we also know from John that he was Philip's friend. In John 21 verse 2, it tells us that he was a native of Canaan, Galilee. I think that's right. I think that was there. I can't remember writing. So we don't know very much about him. Again, just 2 or 3 things. But he made his name known. He was with the apostles. A lot of people think that he is the same person as Bartholomew, but he was there, but he's not listed unless he was Bartholomew. He's not listed in the list of apostles, but he is known for being skeptical, and that is what got the attention of everybody. He was skeptical of Jesus only because Jesus was residing in Nazareth. He didn't think anything good could come from Nazareth. So when they said that they had found the Messiah is here, the Messiah is in Nazareth, Nathanael says, nope, that can't be him. Nothing good comes from that country. That country's just, there's nothing there. It's a waste of space, nothing. And so he spoke before he thought, and we're going to see that got him in trouble. John 1:46, it says that Nathanael says, can anything good come out of Nazareth? So you can hear the sarcasm in it. You can hear him, not deceit, but the thinking of, you all are crazy. You tell me the Messiah's in Nazareth, there's no way, because nothing good comes from there. He was ready to reject Jesus. Not ready, he did. He done rejected him. Okay, this is not him. That's not who we're looking for. You all are crazy. He jumped to the wrong conclusion, and he made an insensitive statement. How many of us have been there? We hear something, and then out of anger, out of spite, we say something, or we jump to the wrong conclusion, and we say something that's totally wrong. It's happened to us. It happens probably more often than not. This is where Nathanael did. It shows Nathanael was human. Nathanael was just like us. He made an insensitive statement without thinking. But Jesus still, even though Nathanael said this, Jesus knew he said it, but Jesus still used him. And even though that Nathanael made this statement and Jesus knew Nathanael thought this way, John 1:47 says that Jesus called Nathanael an Israelite. Now that's a big deal, because if you were called an Israelite, that means you are a believer in the one true God. So even though Nathanael said there's no way that this Messiah can come from Nazareth, there's no way he can live there, there's just no way, Jesus still called him an Israelite, meaning he knew that he was a true believer of God. Verse 49 tells us Nathanael immediately recognized Jesus the Messiah and called him Rabbi. Now wait a minute. Nathanael just said, Philip had just told Nathanael that Jesus was in Nazareth, was residing in Nazareth, Nathanael says nothing good comes from there. Then Nathanael sees Jesus in verse 49 and immediately calls him rabbi. Immediately. Well, why would you call somebody rabbi if you didn't believe he was a teacher, or you believe that he was who you thought he was? So we see an instant change in Nathanael. What good could come out of Nazareth calling him a rabbi, my teacher, you're a son of God? That's the radical change. He went from what good will come out to all of a sudden calling him rabbi, my teacher. Then he proceeds to say later on in that verse 49, you are the son of God. So he is admitting you're the son of God. He was wrong. That's all we know about Nathanael. That's it. Those few short verses of where he's at, we know he was with Philip. We know Philip was excited to go tell him the great news. He was so encouraged. He tells him, Nathanael kind of just blows the wind out of his sails. Oh, you're wrong. Nothing good comes from them. He's not what you think he is. And then when Nathanael sees Jesus, he does a total 180 again, and he recognizes who Jesus is. He says that he recognizes and admits he is the Son of God. So what can we learn from Nathanael? The first thing we can learn, because remember, Nathanael is never assume anything, right? Like Nathanael assumed nothing good would ever come out of Nazareth. Well, he was wrong. So number one, what can we learn from Nathanael? We should bring our friends to Jesus. Again, Philip was dying to share the good news. He was so excited. He wanted to tell Nathanael. Do we have that type of excitement? Do we have that care of, okay, I care about you. I'd like for you to come to church. Do we care about the church? Let's not talk about the people out there. Okay, yeah, I care about them, but I don't want to get involved in their lives. But do we care about our church? Do we want the church, I don't want to say to grow, but do we want the church to be known? Do you want your name in the community? When you go out, hey, you're so-and-so from that church who does this, this, and this. Oh, you all did this for my family when someone was sick. Or you're the church that's known for yada, yada. Are we excited to tell people about who we are? Or about Jesus? Or the things we do? Are we excited, like Philip, to tell our friends who Jesus is? Second thing we can learn from Nathanael, don't jump to conclusions. It's a hard thing. Nathanael jumped to the conclusion that the Messiah could not come from Nazareth. He just right off the bat wouldn't listen to anybody. Nope, not happening. Not happening. How often do we jump to conclusions? Are we like Nathanael, instead of looking for the truth, we're basing our assumptions on incorrect information, prejudices, appearances, or maybe a previous experience? Well, I did that before and it was a flop and we're not going to do it again because, it was horrible last time. Or I don't like so-and-so because her mother did me wrong and we're just bad blood right there. We're not going to do it. Do we base our assumptions on the wrong things, not on the truth? Third, don't be afraid to change your mind. A lot of people say, okay, I have my mind set. This is what I'm going to do. All I got to say is have a kid. It won't happen after that. You will change your mind. Don't be afraid to change your mind. Now, this goes a little bit different. Nathanael changed his mind when he was confronted with the truth. So the viewpoint that she's coming from, not that Nathanael believed wrong, he just believed that Jesus couldn't be coming from Nazareth, that it wasn't a well-known town. It was just Nazareth. Her point in the book was, if we study the Bible and we learn something new, or we see something in a new light, or we are looking at something in a different perspective, a different aspect, and we come to find out that we've been wrong for X amount of years, that we wholeheartedly believe this certain thing, it had to be this way, no other way, but now maybe a circumstance has changed our thinking. Maybe we've studied a little bit more. Maybe we've really dug into it. And maybe my viewpoint is wrong. Maybe I need to change my view. Now, her point is, don't change unless it's the right point of view. You have to make sure that it's right. But there's nothing wrong with changing your mind. We're all wrong at some point. We're all have our own, I don't want to say assumptions, but our own thinking of how things should be, ought to be. A lot of us, well, I've heard I'm 40, going to be 41 years old. For 41 years, I've heard that this is wrong. If you do this, you are wrong. It's the worst thing you could ever do. But then year 42 comes around and something happens and I study that for myself. And I look and, well, is it really as bad as what they said? Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe for 41 years, I've been told, oh, you can go do whatever you want. So people say, go sow your wild oats. I can go live any way I want. God loves me no matter what I do. He will, He's going to let me go into heaven no matter what. It doesn't matter. So let me just live my own life. Well, I turned 42, and someone tells me, hey, wait a minute. It says you should be doing this, 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 and this. And I start looking. Do I have the chance to change my mind? Absolutely. Absolutely. But a lot of times we don't see that. We see the reverse. We've been taught for 41 years it's wrong. Well, I turned 42 and I don't think it's wrong. The world has accepted it. Everybody's become lax. The rules have changed. So it's okay. So I changed my mind to the wrong thing. We've got to make sure that if we have to change our views, number one, the word is if. We need to study and make sure what we're teeter-tottering about, what we're indecisive about. We need to make sure we know what the truth is and then decide, okay, is that what I truly believe? And if not, maybe I need to get to that point. Or I've been taught wrong all along. And I don't want to say taught because I feel like when I say taught, meaning all my Bible class teachers, all the preachers I've had in my life, all my friends, what they have told me, not what I have studied myself, was wrong. Do I need to change? So we have to remember, even Nathanael was not afraid to change. He went from not going to happen to you are the Son of God. Complete change. Fourthly, remember Jesus knows your true self. Remember when I said even though Jesus knew that Nathanael said nothing good's going to come from over there, he still talked to Nathanael. He still went up to them. He knew Nathanael's heart. He knew what Nathanael truly was about. And he called Nathanael an Israelite, meaning a true believer of God. So he knew. So Jesus knows us. We cannot deceive Jesus. As much as we try, as much as we want to, we cannot deceive Jesus. Luke 16:15 says, you are those who justify yourselves before men, but God knows your hearts. For what is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of God. Lastly, when in the presence of Jesus, all doubts can be swept away. What happened to Nathanael? Jesus came and all of a sudden he forgot about that. He forgot about nothing good coming out of Nazareth. He forgot all those assumptions he made, all those ugly things he said. How glorious is that thought? Staying in the presence of Jesus will help us to be strong and faithful in our walk as Christian women. So we have to remain strong. Can we have our doubts? Yes. Can we change our views? Yes. But we got to make sure we're changing them for the right reasons, for the right ways. Do we jump to conclusions? Of course we do. Do we need to be careful about jumping to those conclusions? Yes. Do we need to be careful about what we say when we do jump to those conclusions? Yes. We've got to make sure that we are being the people that Jesus wants us to be. So that is our story of Nathanael. Next week we're going to talk about Nicodemus, and it's go to the source. Another good one. This week we're talking about never assume anything and never make assumptions. And next week we're talking about going to the source, which is another hard one. So I hope everyone has a great week. Have a great Valentine's Day, and I will see you all here next week.